We turn now into the 8th chapter of Romans, beginning of verse 12. In this reading, the Apostle Paul is helping the early Christians understand more what God has really been doing in the gift of Jesus Christ. So then, brothers and sisters, we are debtors not to the flesh to live according to the flesh. For if you live according to the flesh, you will die. But if by the Spirit you put to death the deeds of the body, you will live. For all who are led by the Spirit of God are children of God. For you did not receive a spirit of slavery to fall back into fear, but you have received a spirit of adoption. When we cry, Abba, Father, it is that very Spirit bearing witness with our spirit that we are children of God. And if children, then heirs, heirs of God, and joint heirs with Christ. If in fact we suffer with him, so that we may also be glorified with him. I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory about to be revealed to us. For the creation waits with eager longing for the revealing of the children of God. For the creation was subjected to the futility, not of its own will, but by the will of the one who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be set free from its bondage to decay, and will obtain the freedom of the glory of the children of God. We know that the whole creation has been groaning in labor pains until now. And not only the creation, but we ourselves, who have the first fruits of the Spirit, groan inwardly, while we wait for adoption, the redemption of our bodies. For in hope we were saved. Now hope that is seen is not hope. For who hopes for what is seen? But if we hope for what we do not see, we wait for it with patience. For in hope we were saved. Racia, did anybody ever say that to you on a warm summer day? Did you have a brother or sister say, Racia? Did you have a best friend who liked to race you to the corner? Racia had a special place in my father's childhood. My dad grew up in the small town of Lebo, Kansas. On a summer day, my dad and his little brother, Joseph, gathered on the corner to talk about what to do with the usual group of friends. One day, the boys were deciding between baseball and tree climbing. Then somebody tapped little brother Joseph on the shoulder and cried, Racia. It was Penny, Penny the Flash. Penny the Flash was the fastest runner in the neighborhood. She was always looking for a race. She liked beating the boys to the end of the block. She was undefeated. My dad's brother was trapped. Little Uncle Joseph had fast hands and slow feet. Joseph could hit the fastball, but he had to hustle to get to first base. Joseph knew he could not beat Penny. Joseph startled everyone when he said, Yes, Penny, I will be glad to race you. The boys stepped back as Joseph turned to face north and aimed his face to the end of the block. The boys admired Joseph. He was taking his medicine like a man. Penny had him cornered, and he was willing to race. So Joseph leaned to the north and said, Penny, you stand here, and somebody say go. Penny leaned to the north and looked to the corner. Joseph looked at his cousin Billy to say go. On your mark, get set, go. Penny ran like lightning straight north. Joseph also took off, doing his best lightning imitation. But Joseph was running due west. Joseph was running for all his worth to the western corner. All the boys started laughing. Penny heard the boys laughing and turned around. She saw Joseph was running to the west. No fair, hollered Penny. Joseph made it to the western end of the block and yelled, Winner! For the rest of the summer, Penny would argue that Joseph cheated. And Joseph would just smile and say, You didn't say which corner. Joseph had saved face in a situation that appeared to have no hope. Today's subject is hope. I am thinking of two more Kansas kids who like to race you to the corner. Their names were Floyd and Glenn, and they were brothers. Big brother Floyd was always saying race you to Glenn. Little brother Glenn was always game. He loved to run. During the school year, the two boys would race to the schoolhouse. Floyd was supposed to put the fuel oil in the wood stove. One day, Floyd picked up the kerosene can as usual, but something went wrong. Somebody had put gas in the kerosene can. Seconds after Floyd put the match to the kerosene wood, there was a flash and a bang. Flames jumped to the ceiling. "Run," said Floyd. Glenn ran out of the schoolhouse. He turned to look for Floyd. Floyd wasn't there. He was still inside. Little brother Glenn ran back into the burning schoolhouse, hollering, "Floyd! Floyd!" Floyd was stumbling for the door. Glenn realized he was hot. He looked at his pants. His trousers were on fire. He ran out of the schoolhouse. Neighbors grabbed him and, with effort, put out the fire. Floyd did not survive. Glenn was in bed with bandages up to his waist. He had severe burns on both legs, and the doctors were not sure if his legs would work. They were concerned about nerve damage. There was not a lot of hope. But Glenn had something that was not written in the medical books. He had Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31, the eagle's wings passage. He believed those words were meant for him. Glenn and his parents did everything they could to save his legs. The doctor encouraged daily stretching and massage. Every day, Glenn and his parents would work on his injured legs. Nothing happened, but they kept working. Glenn kept believing in Isaiah 40. His eyes told him he had no hope. His eyes showed him that his legs were not moving. But his faith kept showing him what he could not see. He kept massaging and he kept believing. Then there came a day when he was not in his bed. Glenn's parents looked in the backyard. There was Glenn standing by the fence. He had crawled out of bed and stubbornly drug himself to stand on his injured legs. Hope was paying off. It was not an overnight process. It took 3 years for Glenn to crawl, walk, and then run. Once Glenn got to running, he realized he had almost no pain in his legs. He ran to school. He ran to the store. He ran everywhere. Glenn was noticed by the high school track coach. It was a no-brainer to put Glenn on the track team. Glenn had become fast and tough. All the physical therapy was paying off in huge chunks of athletic success. He won 99% of his high school races. He got invited to the AAU track meets. He went to the University of Kansas. The victories kept piling up. In the 1932 Olympics, he ran the 1500 and placed fourth. In 1934, he set the world record for the mile at 4 minutes, 6 seconds, and 70 hundredths. In the 1930 Olympics, he ran the 1500 and won the silver medal. Glenn Cunningham did all this with third-degree burn scars and 5 toes. That is right. Glenn was so badly burned, he had no toes on his left foot. The damage went all the way to the arch of his left foot. There were no toes to be seen on his left foot, but Glenn Cunningham had faith that his missing toes were going to carry him, and they did. It is amazing what God can do with scar tissue. Jesus had 4 holes in his hands and his feet. Hole number 5 was in his side. He showed the scar tissue to his disciples. He showed it to doubting Thomas. He showed it to us. Through my stripes, you are healed. To your scar tissue, my scar tissue says, we can make it. We can get through this thing together. Amen.